Yeah, Steven, take it away, man. Talk.
Yeah.
I'll
All
mute. I'll shut up.
right. All right. Yeah. Y'all know me as the bear guy, but I haven't taken pictures of bears in, I don't know, at least 3 years. So I've kind of moved my stuff more to astro and landscape the last couple of years. And I had a great opportunity um, this year to go up to the Yukon territory in Canada. And my wife kind of helped me out. She paid the down payment for the trip. She couldn't figure out what to get me for Christmas, so I said, "Hey, just get me that." So that's what she did. But anyway, yeah, I'm a photographer. Been with the club, I don't know, 5 years now, 6 years. Trying to remember when Rick Salmon came to speak because that's when I joined the club. So I got to say it's been about 5 or 6 years. So, but anyway, yeah. So I'm just going to go through what I did during the workshop. I want it to be kind of interactive. I'm not going to go through 100 photos from it, but I will go through some of the photos um, that I did take and kind of walk you through some of my post processing too. Like I said, I want this to be kind of educational too. Ask questions. I got the chat window up, so put them in the chat window or just blurt them out. And if I know the answer, I'll answer. If I don't, I'll tell
Make
you
up
I don't.
something.
I'll make something up. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I was actually going to try to get the workshop leader. He was going to try and join, but due to the 2-hour difference, he wasn't going to be able to make it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the workshop leader and where you found him and how you picked him?
Yep, I will do that. Everybody see my screen there?
Yeah,
There you
my
go.
Yukon adventure.
All right. So yeah, my Yukon adventure, or like I kind of nicknamed it too, how I learned to dislike boulder fields, willows, hiking, and heavy backpacks, and get amazing landscape images. What I learned out there was I thought I was in shape, but I was not in shape for this. It was pretty rugged country out there. So, and you could see from that picture, that was us waiting to get picked up by the helicopter. And if you look down that valley, we sat there for 3 hours waiting to hear the sound of the helicopter come up that valley. And as you could see, the weather, the clouds came in, but he finally was able to get in there and get us out. And also you could see from that picture too, we were literally out on the tundra. There weren't any trees around. So I'm going to basically walk through the trip, look at a few of the behind the scenes photos, and then look at some of the images I took that I've actually edited and walk you through some of the edits. So like I said, if you got any questions, just shout them out. So here, the photo workshop leader, Ramton Kazemi, or Rami K. You can go to his website. I'll bring that up here in a minute. But he's an award-winning landscape photographer based in Canada. Also does tours, which I did. Started it as a hobby, just like most of us have done. He likes going to these wilderness places like we went, where there's hardly any people, and I mean you're really out there camping and packing in your food and everything. He's also a Kelby 1 instructor. That's where I got to know him from. He's got several classes on Kelby 1 on post-processing and planning, planning shoots and all that. So you should go check that out. I'll bring up his webpage here so you could all see, because this is what really kind of interested me. You see that? Is that
Yeah.
up there?
Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, these are
Sweet.
just his photos from the Yukon where we were at. So you can kind of see, I kind of just fell in love with these photos, these images. You know, they kind of got that, some of them got that mystical, ethereal feel to them. So, but I mean, he really goes, there's a lot of planning into some of these shots. And you might see some of the same shots of mine, probably not as good as his, but I think they're pretty good on them. But he has, I think this might be my next workshop with him to the Canadian Rockies in the winter. As long as I can get enough cold weather gear, because I'll be like the Jamaican bobsled team getting out of the airport in Calgary in the middle of the winter. But again, some amazing photos there. So yeah, anybody got any questions?
Yeah.
Is part of the thing working on the extra Photoshop stuff?
Yes, yes. When we got back, because we were kind of limited in what we could carry, I normally don't bring my laptop anywhere where I travel, even if I'm going to be in civilization. But we did a one-on-one via Skype, actually about a week and a half ago. And I gave him some of my photos and he worked one of them. And then I went back through, I actually was able to record the session. So then I was able to kind of work through it myself and give it my own flair.
Cool.
How much,
Uh,
yeah, there you go. I was gonna ask you the kind of gear that you had to take.
So, yeah, that was pretty much my camera bag, semi-packed before I left. Of course, I did a better job. My ball heads and everything weren't hanging out, but I did take my Canon R6 and I did rent the Canon R5 for this trip. I took my Canon, the RF 15-35 f2.8L, and that's pretty much what I used almost the whole time I was out there. I didn't even use, I took my 24-105 and I also rented the 100-500. I was actually a little surprised that we didn't see much wildlife. So I didn't really use that. And of course I took my tripod and ball heads with me. And yep, that's the crew there. Me on the right, that's my brother next to me, Rami, and I'll have to tell you this story. Ryan, the guy with the moose pants on there, he was a last minute fill in. Somebody canceled at the last minute, and kind of like an episode out of Seinfeld, the rental car company did not hold the reservation. So when Rami got there to Whitehorse, we didn't have a car. So he went out and posted on a Yukon hiking site, and this guy Ryan answered the call, and he basically became our chauffeur from Whitehorse all the way up to Dawson and back. And he got a free trip into the park on the helicopter and everything. He wasn't really a photographer. He brought his camera, but he basically stayed stoned out there the whole time because pot's legal up there. So yeah, and it was kind of funny. You ever hear the joke, what do you get with a government worker, a photographer, a bartender, and an accountant? We had pretty eclectic group of people there. And you can kind of see the campsite out there behind us. So yeah, the trip started bright and early. I think I was up and at the airport at 3 a.m. Well, I flight out of here out of Austin to Whitehorse, which is down here. I kind of got at Whitehorse, and it's the capital of the Yukon territory in Canada. And pretty much started out at 3 a.m. and I got here about 7 p.m. All the flights and everything went pretty good. With COVID and everything, Canada had quite a few extra things thrown on there. There's some arrive can thing you had to fill out. You had to take a picture of your Vax card and all that. And then actually you got to fill out all your customs documents. So when you got there, it was pretty smooth once we got into Vancouver to go through their border patrol and all that. So that went pretty smooth. We hung out there in Whitehorse. Actually, me and my brother got there a couple of days early, and we actually did a Northern Light shoot the second night we were there, which was it was kind of cloudy, but we got to see them. At this time of the year, you got about 4 hours of darkness, so if the aurora's out, you'll get to see it. But yeah, we started off in Whitehorse, and basically we just traveled this Yukon highway all the way up to Dawson City. And we spent the night in Dawson, took a helicopter from Dawson, and pretty much went here into the Ogilvie Mountains. And it's a territorial park in Yukon, kind of like our state parks up there. And that's where we went, pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So our first workshop, we headed south from Whitehorse. We went to this place, Marsh Lake, and it's one of those places that's been shot quite a bit because you got this little marsh. They call it Marsh Island, and it's Marsh Island Overlook. And we went there, and luckily, we had some clear skies, and yeah, the aurora was going to be good. I got a couple of apps, aurora forecast and stuff, and it would alert you, and you could tell whether or not the aurora was going to be out or not. And yeah, it put on a show, and we kind of got lucky too, because over in the left here, that was the moon rising. And usually once the moon rises, you lose the aurora, but it kind of stayed out. And we got a little color too, some magentas and stuff in it. But and I'll actually walk through the edit on this photo as well. So anyway, any questions?
How long was your exposure for this?
Maybe 5 seconds. ISO 3200, f2.8. Because what we were trying to do is and you could see the northern lights, how they dance. Instead of getting that dreamy feel, more of a quicker shutter speed, and you kind of get these lines in the northern lights, and you could kind of see this was at midnight, and you could kind of see it was semi-blue hour too still. So yeah, like I said, we stayed at the Talus Lake campground, and they have 3 different campgrounds, and you could check it out. It's called Tombstone Territorial Park, and they got a website and everything. You could check it out. But Dawson City is known for the gold. If you ever watch Discovery Channel and Gold Rush, they're mining all around this area here. And we spent the night in Dawson, which was kind of fun because it was a Friday night and all the gold miners came in out of the field. So it got pretty, there's a lot of parties going on. So, and yeah, if you look at the map, this is like pretty much the middle of nowhere. While we were in Dawson, I'll show this video too, a little fun video. I don't know, have any of you all ever heard of the Sourdough Cocktail Club? So basically,
Yes.
Okay. So basically, it's a thing up in Dawson City. many, many years ago, some guy lost his toe to frostbite and they put it in some alcohol or whatever, but it's become a thing that you go up there and you basically take a shot of Yukon Jack with this. It's not the original toe. I think people are, from what I understand, people are lined up to donate their toes to this thing. So basically you take a shot with this toe in it and it's got to touch your lips. I don't know if you could hear the sound or not, but that was me. This guy, he basically has this saying, he puts the toe in, the toe got stuck, so I had to shake it. So anyway, so we all did that. Our ride in was via helicopter, which kind of brought back some fond memories for me because I used to work on helicopters. And this was actually an old Bell helicopter that we were in. But yeah, we flew in on this helicopter on the right. You kind of see our backpacks and everything fully loaded. I mean, we had to pack in our food. We brought in, you know, the standard camp food. And we also had to put it all in bear proof containers. So there's bear proof containers also packed with food in our backpacks that we had to carry in.
Did
Plus
your
my
guide
camera
provide,
bag.
did they provide the backpacks?
No, I had to provide the backpack, which these I got them off Amazon. They were like 129 bucks off Amazon. So it did its job. Carried everything. Between the bear containers, tent, we had to shove our tent in there and all that. So I don't know, I lost the chat window. So yeah, flying in. This was as we were flying in, and that's the valley that we went up. And our campground is kind of actually to the right over here. But yeah, pretty spectacular scenery. These mountains are freaking massive. We had some clear flight going in, so that was pretty good. And we had our cameras ready and we're taking pictures out the window. That was the campground we were at. It was pretty neat because they had these pads already set up for the tents. So you basically, because they didn't want you actually sitting your tent down on the tundra. So this way it didn't affect the tundra or anything. But one thing I learned while we were camping there is tent comes with a little pad that you put down underneath, which works well when you're on the ground. But when you're on this, it basically collected water, which pooled up underneath the tent. So yeah, that was the view out the front of the tent to the side of the tent. In the campground there, we had a little cooking hut, bear-proof containers. Up on top of one of them, you could see this is the bear-proof containers that we had. This one, what we did was, because we got all our water from this lake over here, so we just filled that up with water, and we had those iodine pills or whatever. So basically we filled that up, so we didn't have to just keep going back and filling up our little water bottles. We had water ready to go as we needed it. And then on the left here, that was the facilities. For a minute there, I thought we were going to be digging holes out there and burying stuff, but no, they had this little thing, and it was kind of funny because after the helicopter dropped us off, he went over here and then picked up the full barrels to take back out of the park. Again, just a few pictures from the campsite. There with the mountains around us. I mean, this was a once in a lifetime experience for me. I mean, would I do it again? Maybe if I'm in a lot better shape. But unlike the trails that we're used to in some of our state and national parks, even though they had trails outlined, they were still pretty rugged with rocks and everything. You had to watch your step. And then there was these boulder fields that we had to cross, which I found out I kind of ended up using my tripod as a walker because my balance wasn't so great sometimes going across. But the workshop leader, I think, was part mountain goat because he'd just fly over. The young kids, I think I was the oldest there, and I was pretty much twice everybody else's age there. Well, except for my brother. He's 8 years younger than me, but he fared a little bit better than me, except for taking a dive into one of the streams, but he saved his camera.
What's the temperature range?
Actually, we had good temperatures. I mean, mid 60s, mid 40s at night. It didn't get into the 30s. Could it? Yes. But no, we had pretty good weather. I think I probably overpacked a little bit, thinking it was going to be colder than what it ended up being, but I guess it was better to be safe than sorry, which actually came in handy because when my brother took the tumble in the stream, he had to get out of all his wet clothes. So I had some extras that he could use while his were drying. On one of our hikes there, that's me looking all disheveled and everything. Our campground is down back there. It was probably only maybe a mile and a half, but it felt more like 10 miles. And I can't really zoom in, but if you see all these rocks and boulders here, I mean, that's what we had to cross half the time. Did somebody have a question?
Yeah, how heavy was your pack with all the camping gear and the photo gear?
Well, I took my camera gear separately. So my camera bag was probably about 25, 30 pounds, and my backpack was probably, I'm going to probably say at least 80 pounds with the tent and everything, plus all the food and all that.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, luckily, like I said, there's people that actually hike here. And there's a trail and it starts off at the road. There's a road, I can't remember the name of it. The Dempster Highway. And people backpack in, and it's about a 30-kilometer hike, but you got to go over these mountains. There's one set of mountains. You got to actually walk up and cross over a couple of these mountain passes to hike. And there's like 3 different campgrounds. This is at the end of the trail. And people hike in from the road, and they hike for a day, stop at one of the campgrounds, hike the next day, go to the next campground, hike the next day, and then finally get here. Some just stayed overnight and then hike back out. But what was incredible too was people had their dogs with them. Their dogs made this journey out there.
Yeah. And they're not carrying any packs though, are they?
No, they had their dogs. They had packs on these little packs on their dogs. Their
that's-
dogs carried their own food and everything with them out there. So, which was, I thought, kind of crazy. And yeah, that's me with my bald head. as we were flying out. That was Doug, our pilot. He was our hero because we sat there for 3 hours in the pouring rain until he finally showed up. But the weather kind of broke, and he actually gave us a good flyby of the mountains too and everything, which was pretty cool. And then, yeah, we'll look at some images that I took. Actually, I'm going to get out of this. And I'm going to bring up my Photoshop. Does everybody see that? We're all good? Is there any questions in the chat? For some reason, I lost the chat box.
There's
Oh,
what
there
was
it
the
is.
altitude?
It wasn't very high. I think maybe 4,000 feet. So we weren't very high. So anyway, I'll walk through.
The Granger
Let's see.
Lake Boulder Field didn't prepare you for,
Yeah, yeah, it did because I didn't. I fell on that. Fell on my ass on that. At least here I didn't fall, but I almost did. I did, however, leave a set of progressive lenses out there somewhere on the tundra. So there's probably some moose, bear, or some animal now probably able to see now because he's got some glasses. Lost my lens hood. I think somebody forgot their thermos somewhere out there. And my brother lost his dignity when he fell in the stream. Let's see. Hard pass on the sour toe, anything. Hey, Yukon Jack was pretty good. I kind of liked it. So anyway, this was that first image I showed you out at Marsh Lake. And if I can do this. So basically on this shot here, this was earlier when we first got there. I wanted to use this for some, to get more of the detail to blend in later. I don't know what the hell I did there. Just playing around with some exposure, color balance to kind of give it that more of a green hue when I blended it in. Another hue saturation. That's when I brought in the Northern Light, photo, and blended it in. You could see the mass there. Did some levels adjustment. Aurora pop. So what I use a lot is Pro Panel. And it's great for astrophotography. It's got a lot of different things to like enhance the Milky Way and stuff. And I use this one Aurora pop to pop the aurora a little bit. It's also great for luminosity masks. And it's inexpensive, 60, 70 bucks. So I kind of use that a lot. Here I did a little bit more blending to get the reflection of the aurora on the lake there. But yeah. Anybody got any questions on that? Am I
Beautiful.
boring you? Okay. So yeah, so that's my workflow. Now,
Hey, Stephen,
yeah,
can you see the stars through the aurora?
yes,
Wow.
yes. And I was kind of, I also noticed too, there's this cluster of stars here,
Mhm.
which kind of pretty much amazed me.
It looks like the Little Dipper. Were you not looking,
Maybe,
you looking north?
yeah, we're looking north, but actually it would have been right overhead because you know what? I was thinking about doing a star trails one night, but then when I was trying to find the North Star, I realized where I was standing, I had to look straight up.
Hmm,
So I wouldn't have got kind of like, down here when we do star trails, it's lower on the horizon and you can get that nice star trail in with your foreground and everything. Here it would be straight up.
okay. I
So
wonder if could it be the Pleiades?
maybe. Maybe.
Are you
So-
using any tools for your masking, Stephen?
Yeah, I use these luminosity masks that are pretty good. Yeah, I could just click on one. And then from there, you could go and then refine it. I don't know what it did there, but
Magic.
anyway,
It heard us talking about stars.
yeah. Oh, it didn't apply. Ah,
There we
anyway,
go.
there we go. But anyway, yeah, I use these luminosity masks a lot, and they got lights, midtones and dark. So depending on which way you want to go with it. So this was another one. In this shot here, I guess you're gonna learn my secret, but there's the original shot. I mean, it was not good light or whatever, but I used it to blend in
Ooh,
a previous
Nice.
aurora.
nice.
And then here, just playing around like here, added kind of some of the aurora color into here. And then you could see where I used a luminosity mask to just get it in the highlights and stuff. And this one I just brought back a little bit more detail on that rock. I didn't like how it was just totally black, and then did some color matching there.
I really love the way you're showing this to us because, starting from that first image, I never would have expected that. I love the final result with the nightscape, it makes it very believable.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And then from there, I just keep building up things until the final. Here, I think I did some warping,
Hmm,
get more of a curve going with that waterfall there. But yeah,
So when you went into this image started in field,
yeah.
what was what was the spark of the idea? This
Well,
this water flow?
yeah, the water flow. So basically, that one picture of me out of breath, we were over here. And we were actually, the trail kind of goes along here and we were going somewhere else. But then we noticed this waterfall. So we diverted and crossed this. Now you can see some of these boulders we had to cross here. A stream, the willows. Now this doesn't look like much, these willows here, but they're pretty much as tall as you and they're like walking through thickets.
Ooh.
And then here's another one of the boulder fields. So it looks like it's easy. No. Well, for me, for some people it was easy, I guess, but for me it wasn't so easy. But yeah, we went up there just hoping for some light, but I mean, took pictures, um, you know, just kind of experimenting, the whole goal of this workshop for me also was to improve on my landscapes composition, because I'm so analytical being an accountant, and then it comes so easy, like for Rampton, he'll see something and it's like on it. Me, it's like I got to work on it, trying to find the right composition. And to be honest, I don't know if this is even the best composition. Maybe I should have been more over to the right with that waterfall. Um, but um, but yeah, that was my goal, was to, one, to improve my composition, two, learn from somebody that does this, three, get the hell out of the heat of Texas. And so, and I think I hit my goals. Another one of the goals too was to see the aurora again, because I've seen it before, but I knew nothing about composition then. So, just playing with the composition and all that, and trying to kind of learn. Kind of the same thing here, same waterfall. Yes, I blended in the aurora from a previous shot, but this one was taken vertical instead of landscape. So, and actually here I was more in the middle of the waterfall there. But the other challenge for me too was to make it look realistic too. Matching. Now I collapsed a lot of the layers here, so I think the only thing you see here is I just kind of brightened it up a little. But you could kind of see in the edit where I kind of I'm leading your eye down. Here's the rest of the stream, and then off into the mountain, up into, the aurora there.
How is your guide coaching you to see this way? Does he just let you go off on your own, or does he
Well,
set you up specifically?
I would go off on my own, and I'd say, hey, what do you think of this? And he'd come over here and say, well, maybe go over here, get a little lower. And, and this would be, and then once I see it, then I'm like, okay, now I kind of see what he's seeing. But I tried to tell him, hey, let me this is what I want to work on. So let me get set up and think what I think is a good composition, and then let me get with you. The other thing on this workshop too is usually I'll go to Alaska and take 4,000 photos easy. I came back from this one with maybe 700 total. And out of those 700, 500 were from a wildlife preserve. So I wasn't just spraying and praying. I was also using focus stacking far, near to far, exposure bracketing. So then I can blend all those in later on. And you'll see some of that in the next photo with it. So this one here was one of the ones, and actually I picked this composition and he liked it, so I just stuck with it. This is actually across from our campground, maybe half a kilometer, but it takes you 45 minutes to walk over there. That's the stream my brother fell in,
Oh.
by the way. So yeah, and the day before we went out here at sunset, and it was just kind of like blah, no color, no light, no nothing. But we kind of played around with composition and stuff. You know, would it be pictures I post? Probably not. I probably might use the photos and find another aurora I can blend in with it. But the sky was totally gray. But this day we went out there and we didn't think we were going to get any light, but magically the sun broke through, as you could see, and we got that great light back in the background there against the mountains and everything.
Show us the base image and walk
Yeah.
us through that one. I'll bet that's cool.
So
Hey, Steven, how long did it take you to do like the processing on a photo like this?
So the processing on a photo like this probably took me a total of 4 hours, 5 hours
Per photo?
over 2 days. Because what I would do is I would do it and then just let it sit. And then came back to it the next day to relook at it. Let my eyes rest. Because they always say, let your eyes rest sometimes. Some people also say, don't drink coffee while you're editing photos because the caffeine dilates your pupils. So it took me a long time, and a lot of it was trial and error too. You know, I'll show the base image. So that's the base image. As you could see, now you got to remember too, you're shooting raw. So it's going to be a flat file. You know, what you see on the back of your camera is the JPEG, and the camera, you know, you go in your camera and you can set it to review in landscape mode. And you're going to see, you're seeing a JPEG interpretation with a bunch of settings that Canon says this is what landscape should look like. But then when you get it on your computer and you download it and you're shooting raw, you're going to get a flat image like this. But you can kind of see that there's light there, there's some contrast and all that. So this one here was actually, I did some focus blending because I took a shot of the foreground, took a shot of the midground, and then took a shot of the background. So the image would be in focus all the way through. Now, Canon does have where you can focus stack internally in the camera. I should have played with that, but I didn't. And then through trial and error too, what I found out was I was using the screen touch shutter, but it doesn't focus. So I already took like 3 series of this shot and then realized it didn't focus. So I would have to go focus, take a picture, focus, take a picture, focus, take a picture.
On a tripod, of course.
On a tripod. And I didn't, believe it or not, I did do some brackets for the sky to get some more detail in the sky, but actually this was taken with the Canon R5 and the file was so amazing. We didn't even have to use that because if we brought down the sky, we were able to get all the detail and we didn't clip anything, which was good. Again, here, I did some warping, basically get some things out of the image that I didn't really like or didn't interest. Here, what we did, played with some color, give it a little bit more of a fall color look from just green. The fall colors were coming out. Actually, the next day, a lot of this turned more fall color. So we kind of gave it more of a fall color look. Here we did some slight, curves level, darkening some areas, lightening other areas. Bigger dodging and burning. Here again, if you look at the image, kind of brightened up some of that there. Here I darkened back down the foreground. Here brought some detail back into the sky. Went into camera raw, did some color grading just for the sky and the light there. Again, went back into camera raw here, kind of did some dehaze and then desaturated the blue. Here, gave it, you could see, I don't know if you can see it on your screens or not. Gave it a little bit more color. Here, went and back, brightened up some more. And I'm constantly going back and forth. There might be times where I brighten something, then later on say, I don't like that. Then I'll go back and darken it. Here, did some more precise dodging and burning. And as I zoom up, you can kind of see, just giving it some more depth. Here, that Alaskan cotton grass, kind of brightened that up. And then, yeah, and like Josh said, I'm going in and if you look, the mask, I'm pretty much going to each individual piece of cotton grass. Yes, I'm very patient. I don't know. I kind of look at it. Photoshop's like a surgeon. Lightroom, I'll do stuff in I'll do a lot of my wildlife just in Lightroom because, but I'm going for something here to hang on my wall. And this is definitely going actually above my fireplace. Here, we're giving it a little bit more, the sun, a little bit more glow to it. Y'all see that? Here, I did what's known as the Orton effect. And if you actually look way back in the mountain, and it kind of gives it a little bit more haze like you would normally see, stuff farther away. So it's adding some depth to it. Giving that sun just a little bit more glow. Here, kind of did a vignette to lead your eyes here. Very subtle. Well, maybe it's not very subtle. Here, I did a little cleanup. If you notice, because this was bugging me, there was this one little bush down here that was this orange that I just got rid of. Because every time I'd look, it's one of those things, edit, then come back the next morning, and it was like, my eye just kept going to that stupid orange bush there, so I got rid of it. Here, This is actually some sharpening using the high pass filter. Kind of makes it pop. And yeah, so that's my walkthrough on this image. Any questions?
How can you, this is Laszlo, how
Yeah.
can you get the light of the lower left corner? How did you get the light on the lower left corner, which is shaded by the mountain?
Well, no, because the light's coming over and it was hitting the top.
Yeah, that is okay, but the lower left.
The lower left, I don't see any
Yeah.
light.
Yeah, lower left part. No, not that one, a little bit. Yeah, that is.
Here.
Uh-huh.
No, I darkened that down.
No. Right, that part that is for. Would you please
This
move your
part?
cursor from left to right? From left to right,
Yeah,
lower left corner.
yeah, it's dark.
That is the right corner, but the lower left corner. Move the light cursor up a little bit and to the right more. Stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
right here.
That area.
I just wanted to highlight.
Because that is
That.
in shadow.
Huh?
So that shadow area is the reality is shadow.
But right.
But the
And-
brightness of that is least as the lighted on the upper left. Yeah.
So I wanted you to kind of look here too to see some of that. So I kind of brightened it up. Maybe
Yeah,
I brightened it up a
I
little
would
bit more.
suggest if I can something, maybe a little bit toned down that one. That would be not so punchy on the image.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very nice, but that is a little bit too strong for me. But this is just my opinion.
So. And this was another image that we took. Actually, it was after we hiked out of that little valley there, gully or whatever. We came up and the light was still pretty spectacular. So I kind of played with this one here. And what I liked about it too, I gave it some fall color, but I kind of left this one green here to just stick out, you know, just something different from the rest of the landscape. Hey, I'm holding on to summer. I'm not going to fall. So that's kind of my story on this one here. Again here, focus stacking, stack. Here, giving it a little bit more, little fall color pop.
Stephen, your focus stacking, what aperture are you at?
I was at f13.
Okay, so you're stopped way down and focus stacking.
Yeah, because I wanted to try to get as much as I can sharp. Yeah, later on, I'm going to probably add an Orton effect, which is going to kind of blur those mountains just slightly in the back. But I wanted to make sure there was some detail, you know, in the rocks, in all these leaves and all that. Here, a little contrast adjustment. Darken some of that foreground up. Make some of these yellows pop a little bit more. Did a little color grading for the sky. Again, just kind of like what I did on the last photo. Did some dodging and burning. which you can kind of see on the mountains there. And when I do some of the dodging and burning, when I'm working on like the mountains here, I'll actually pick the same color. When I do the dodging and burning, I just put a 50% gray layer, and then that's how I do my dodging and burning. Yeah, there is a dodge and burn tool in Photoshop, but that's how I've kind of been doing my dodging and burning. And actually here, what I did was I just duplicated that layer again to just give it a little bit more. And as you can see, I also play a lot with the opacity. So I might do an adjustment that looks way crazy, but then I'll use that opacity and bring that down. Here, worked a little bit with the sun, give it a little bit more glow and pop there. Here, this is where I said I'd do the Orton effect. Basically, I just do a Gaussian blur, and like this was on an R5, 45 megapixels. I'll take that up, just double that, blur it, and then I'll bring it down. Like in this case, 12%. And I basically masked out and just left it there in the mountains and the sky. Give it more of a feel too in the sky, that the clouds have a little movement in it. Here, kind of brightened some of the yellows again. Kind of stretched the image a little because I thought there was just a little too much in the foreground there, but I didn't want to crop it. Here again, did some it's a high pass filter to bring out some of the detail. And if you look at this mask, basically what I did was after I did the high pass filter, I masked out along the ridge line here, so you didn't get that funky glow around the tops of the mountain sometimes that you get when you over sharpen. Yeah, a little brightening. And then again, bring down, as you can see, I'm constantly playing with it. Am I done with this photo? Maybe, maybe not, but I can always go back and because this is all non-destructive and these R5 files, I can stretch and go either way. But anyway, anybody got any questions, comments?
This is Laszlo again. Nothing about the picture, but when you were in this majestic location and you set up your tripod and your camera gear, what did you feel? How did you feel? How did the image talk to you when you clicked the shutter before all of this tremendous amount of manipulation, what you did?
Oh, well, I could say it was very peaceful. Unlike going to like Yellowstone or Rocky Mountain National Park, or even when I go to Alaska and go to Katmai National Park, which has gotten way, way overcrowded. I mean, it was just me, Rampton, and my brother out there. That's it. It was just us
Okay,
three.
but how the image talked to you?
Oh, the
How
light.
do you feel about that?
I mean, it's hard to put words to it because it was just breathtaking. I mean, for somebody that's grown up in New York City, to see something like this for the first time and to be there, I mean, it was breathtaking. I would say I was at peace, but then I was frantically trying to take the picture because the light was gone in 5 minutes. So, but it was to me, this was very peaceful. I'm not going to say it was relaxing because I was hurting. My legs were hurting. My feet had blisters on them on places they never had blisters before. I almost didn't even go out there this evening because this was the evening after we were at that waterfall and I was so tired. And then I looked and I was like, I don't think the light's going to be. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go anyway. I just grabbed my camera, slung it around me, my water bottle, my tripod, because I needed a walker. And we slowly made it out there. And, you know, all of a sudden when that sun popped through those clouds and we had that light and just the way it fell on the mountains between the lights and the shadows and the depth. I mean, it was pretty freaking amazing.
So
Yeah,
you
thank
said that, oh, sorry.
No, just I wanted to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You said there was one picture where you and him both took a shot at editing it.
Yeah.
Are we going to see that? It'd be interesting to see the contrast.
Yeah, I can do that. Let me see. Open. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's this one. And because these R5 files are so big, I got to save them as a PSB. I don't even want to look at what the file size is.
Well, if it's a PSB, that means it's more than 2 gigs.
I'm going to probably say I got one pano in here I haven't looked at, but that was taken with an R5 and it's 5 or 6 shots vertically. And I'm surprised my hard drive hasn't started screaming at me, telling me I'm out of space.
Don't you wish you still had your old laptop to edit on?
I have it sitting right here. Even this new, look how. So let me click everything on. So this was his edit. And there's mine. So, you know, I followed some things, but then some things like on his, now we only did this for an hour and a half. He says he'll go in and dodge and burn individual leaves. It'll take him days to edit one of his photos, if not longer, especially if it's going to be a portfolio one. So this was, for him, this was kind of a quick edit. But yeah, this was his take on it. And
Some of the
I gave him, go.
I was just his pictures on Instagram show more of a, like he's using brush strokes almost to draw mist across the mountains and things.
That's that Orton effect.
What is it?
Orton, I'll put it in the. Yeah, there you go. Orton effect.
Do you have an
And-
action for that, Stephen, or is that?
No, I don't have an action. Could I have an action? Probably.
So in
I'm
this-
not in any rush. I usually edit photos on Sunday afternoons. I got a TV sitting right here too. So now that it's fall and football season, I'll have the football game on and I'll edit photos.
So he wanted your eye to go back to those mountains a whole bunch.
Yes. Mm-hmm. This is the pano I've been working on. I still got to work on that foreground because it's kind of gotten muddled. That's a little too red, but that was the original. The picture you saw me that looked like I was out of breath. That was that. But this is a pano that we took up there. And you can kind of just see this whole mountain range. And you can see, yeah, I've been
Just.
No, they don't tell you what the,
Just beautiful.
what is it? 16,143 pixels by 5,811 pixels. So
Okay.
I'm working on this, so this one isn't a done one. I may have to go back to the beginning because I think I kind of overdone that, but.
So when did you go there? I'm sorry, what was the
Um,
September or
Last month.
October?
August,
Oh, August.
yeah, I flew up there in the middle of August.
Oh, okay.
I think it was the 17th. And then we went up here on the 19th.
Because we were there that was in October. The tundra
Yeah.
is red.
Mm-hmm. And I think you went up the Dempster Highway.
Yeah.
And if you took a left from the Dempster Highway and went 30 more kilometers, that's where we were.
Yeah.
This was another one I'm kind of working on. I kind of like the black and white because
Yeah, I like that black and white.
that's the color.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you see this image in black and white? When you take the image?
No, I can't see it in black and white. You know, the only reason why I was thinking going black and white is because the sky wasn't.
Yeah, it's
Very
very good with
interesting.
black and white. Just, if you
Yeah.
train your eye for specific scenes as a black and white, or check it with an orangey brownish color filter,
Yeah.
you can see the tonal range, and then you will able to transform the colors to black and white monochrome, and then go for that.
So this was another image. This
It's
is the
very
lake.
nice as a black and white. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way, but anyway, this is the lake we got our water out of. And there was 3 ducks on this lake that I could not get a picture of because every time I'd come out here, they'd go to the other end of the lake. That was about the only wildlife I saw out there, other than some sparrows. I did see some wildlife. We went after the trip. We went to the Yukon Wildlife Center, and here they have, basically it's a wildlife sanctuary. And I signed up for a kind of a one-on-one, actually, me and my brother and a guide, and we were able to go in the pen with a couple of Canadian lynxes and photograph. So this was one of them. Again, this was taken with the R5, and I think this is one of the few times where I used the 100 to 500 while I was in there. But the detail on that, I'm tempted to get the R5 now.
The files on that R5 are chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Use the eye detection.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, so we were able to go in, and we were in with there was 3 Canadian lynx. 2 had all 4 legs. 1 had only 3 because it was caught in a trapper's snare, and they couldn't release it after they amputated it. But and I think these 2 Canadian lynxes were actually raised as kittens. Somebody thought they were cats and kittens when they found them, and they turned out they weren't kittens. When their feet were twice the size of, or 3 times, I mean, the paws on these things are humongous. That was another one. We got to go in with the Arctic fox. Here, he still doesn't have his white coat, but I kind of like this one. Not just, it's the wildlife, but the background with the mountains and everything.
As Bob Davis did.
Mhm.
And And then here, another Canadian lynx. I kind of like this one because he was coming out of the shadows. Looking at you. But yeah, that's I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna bring up Google Maps.
What was that? يوم ساعدني إني أتذكر بشي اسمها.
So if you look at Google Maps, that was the campground we stayed at. And this is the end of the trail. The trail actually starts back here. This is the Dempster Highway, which is actually just, they call it a highway, but it's dirt. It's not paved. And actually, while we were there, they were putting fiber optic cable that's going to go all the way up to this Tuktoyaktuk or whatever. But anyway, you could see how far north we were. We were here. There's Fairbanks. So, and then I think the Arctic Circle is just right up in here somewhere. But as you can see, I mean, middle of nowhere. I just left my wife the coordinates. So if they didn't hear from us, she knew where to send search and rescue. But our guide had a Garmin thing that was connected to the Iridium satellites. So even though he couldn't talk, he could send text through it. So that's how we were coordinating with the helicopter pilot. And then plus his girlfriend would send him weather updates, you know, for the next day, see what the weather was going to be like and the aurora forecast, because there was absolutely no
The Garmin inReaches are really nice.
yes, yeah, that's what it was. And here you could, and this is the valley when we flew in out of Dawson, and then we come up and then you go into this valley here. But as we were flying, getting ready to fly out, this got all socked in. And I think he took off from Dawson, but he kind of had to wait here. He actually had some passengers he dropped off when he picked us up, but he went and landed out here and was waiting for it to burn off some. But I don't know what he did, because all of a sudden when we started hearing, anybody that's been in the military and knows the sound of a Huey, that wop, 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 a two-bladed helicopter, and you hear that wop, wop, wop coming up the valley and that sound, and all of a sudden you see the lights. We were like, hey. But then we got back to Dawson City, and Dawson City, all the stores shut down at 6, and we got there at 8. So we had to find, we ended up having gas station food for dinner, which was basically potato chips, pretzels, and that. There wasn't much in the stores up there either. But
City India had everything.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So anyway,
it's closed at 6.
Steven,
that's
is there any photo gear you wish you would have taken?
any photo gear I wish I would have taken. Not really. I think I should have been more familiar, like with the focus stacking and practicing it a few times with the Canon beforehand. There's probably some photo gear I probably shouldn't have taken. But because I had a tripod, I had a platypod, I had a platyball, my ball head. I think some of it I never used. So I just left it there. I did take, and I'll get you your charger back,
Oh,
Josh.
yeah, that's fine.
I took about 9 batteries with me. All those new, the LPE6N whatever batteries. But believe it or not, because I didn't take a whole lot of pictures, I think I only went through 2 batteries. I
Wow.
did take a portable battery pack with me, which helped because the Garmin InReach was running out of power. So at least he was able to plug that in and recharge that so we could at least get connected with the helicopter pilot and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah,
those USB power banks are always useful. Like there's always
Mhm.
something that needs it.
but pretty, we just went to Dawson City. I think Laszlo, you all went, did you take the ferry across Dawson and then went through Chicken and all that? The top of
Yeah.
the World Highway?
Yeah,
There
we
was
did
quite,
about the 45. Okay, so we went up to Dawson, and from Dawson on the Dempster up, and then to Eagle and up, and then back to Dawson, and from Dawson on the top of the World Highway to Alaska, and then through Chicken, we went down to Fairbanks, and then from Fairbanks we went up to the Arctic Circle and the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to photograph, and then come back to what is this to back to South Alaska, and then through the crash from Anchorage we went up to the St. Elias Mountains National Wildlife Area, and then back on Western Canada. That is amazing area.
yeah.
Western Canada is basically British Columbia.
Yeah. And then, this is Yukon's a territory.
Yukon is amazing. One of the best.
And they sure didn't like the rest of Canada for some reason.
That if you go south from Yukon and stay on the west side, that is amazing in British Columbia.
But
and then up a little bit from Yukon, that is when you started that and went up on that road which you reached Dawson. That is amazing too. We about 10 or 12 times we saw the Northern Lights.
And then while we were in
White for 3 months long, so that was we drove up.
And while we were in Whitehorse, I met some guys from Finland.
Yeah.
And they flew their bikes, their motorcycles to Anchorage, and they were traveling from Anchorage through there all the way to the tip of Argentina.
Yeah, that's great.
On their motorcycles.
It's the Pan American Highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, but they got stuck in Whitehorse because there's some mountain pass you got to go over to get out into British Columbia, and it was closed because of some rock slide or something.
The major problem was with us in October 15, the whole campgrounds, September 15, they closed. So we had to boondock a lot.
So, but anyway, yep. So
but that was very good and interesting. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Stephen.
Now you could see all the work I go through. And when you see some of my Milky Way shots, I kind of do the same thing. So
cool.
Anyway.
Got some great results.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I really like Rampton likes this one. I'm still I kind of like this one too.
Yep.
What paper are you going to put them on?
Well, I do have. The hell do I have?
Metallic pearl.
I got.
No.
That's right.
No.
Black rock metallic
I got.
pearl.
No. Too shiny.
I got some of that. I got some of that Palo. I really love Red River paper.
Yeah.
And I got some of their Palodora burrito fiber.
Yeah.
I might try printing it on that. But
now
I do also have their polar luster metallic. So you don't get that shiny. So I might try printing on both to see, but I'm also going to print very large, and I'll probably print it on that. I like using the Bay Photo, the exposer,
Yeah.
and one, it's a lot cheaper on shipping because you're not printing on metal
Mhm.
or anything like that. So it comes to you rolled up, and it comes with these brackets that you just expand out on the photo, because on the photo they got little, I don't know what you call them, like clips on the back of the photo that you put them in, you stretch it out, and then you just hang it up on the wall. And once you have one, what I do is, like the one over my fireplace, I'll order the same size, so I don't even have to get the whole setup anymore. I just order the photo, and I could take the old one down and then put a new one up.
Yep.
So yeah, anybody got any other questions?
What's
When
your
you-
next trip?
This is last leg, and I'm sorry. When you saw the first time the Northern Light, what was your reaction to the Northern
Well,
Light without photographing, the feeling? Because
well, yeah, well, I've seen them before in Alaska, but even, the first time I seen them, believe it or not, your eyes have to adjust to the darkness to actually see them. Because if not, they just kind of look like this, like clouds, like little wispy clouds in the sky, until your eyes get used to the dark, get your night vision, as we used to call it in the military, and then you could see them. But the camera, I think, captures it a lot better, the colors, than your eyes do.
did you see the Northern Light dancing?
Yes. They were dancing. I mean, it put on a good show for a good hour and a half, but then the moon came up, and it was a full moon, and it was just taking pictures. I mean, it just blows it out. So, but the first time I seen them in Alaska, they were pretty, I mean, I think it was a lot stronger than what I did up in the Yukon. And that was pretty spectacular, but I wish I knew about foreground back then. But that was in Talkeetna, and there was a lot of Pink Floyd music going on, and some strange, funny smoke smells going on too up there. But but
Snow.
Cool.
Can you tell us in round numbers the kind of budget we would need for a trip like this?
a budget, with or without buying a gold nugget?
Just the, well, first of all, just the workshop that he put everything together, right? So that was kind of a lump
Yeah.
price. Then you had your trip.
Yeah, the workshop was $4,600, which included the helicopter ride, which, when you find out, that's $2,000 round trip in and out. So it also included 2 nights of our hotel in Whitehorse. The night before we left to the workshop, or left, and then when we came back. But because I spent extra time there, I spent more on hotel. The flights, all right, when I flew, I did not fly cheap. I flew business and first class. So I spent a good chunk of change on my flights, probably about $1,800 total round trip, if not more, on my flights. Reason why I do that a lot, especially on these, is I want to be guaranteed that my camera bag gets on the plane with me, and I don't have to check it to my final destination. So I usually upgrade. Air Canada, I selected business class, but their business class is our first class. So that was the first time since I flew back from Germany in the 90s where I actually got a meal on a plane. So, but so in total, I'm gonna probably say at least 10 grand total.
And it was for how many days?
I was there 2 weeks,
Okay.
but again, I was also on vacation. I wasn't frugal. And plus I did buy my wife a Christmas present of a gold nugget pendant. So I got my Christmas shopping done.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And he drank some
um,
dead guy's toe.
and I drank some dead guy's toe. But yeah, and yeah, we had some travel hiccups on the way back. The day started with me leaving my passport and cell phone in the rental car, which I locked and put the key in the key box. So I had to bust the key box open in the airport. Well, everybody watched me bust the key box open to get the car keys back out. And then spent 5 hours at security in Vancouver getting over to the US side of the airport because you go through customs and border patrol for the US in Vancouver. So my 2 hour in between flights and 5 hours at security didn't add up. So, but I did finally make it home. But luckily, I gave a little fudge factor in there for travel hiccups too.
Can you stop sharing your screen? We say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
Gonna start calling you Smooth Criminal Steven.
Yeah. How the hell do I stop sharing?
Maybe not that smooth.
Top of the screen. It says, it should say, there should be a green box up there.
Yeah.
I'm seeing view
Says-
options up there.
Yeah, if you like, I can stop you.
Yeah, you can stop me. All right,
Okay.
you stop me. I was hoping to have Rampton on here, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. But I might have him talk to him and see if we can get him on here as a guest speaker at some point next year. And I know we're in talks to do a scouting trip to some island that Portugal owns off of Africa or something. So rent a villa, bring our families, take photos and chill. Anyway,
Thank
yeah,
you
that's
very
it. That's
much.
all I got.
That was great.
Thank you.
It was indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks, Stephen. Good job.
Welcome.
Yeah, I love seeing the build and the photographs, the layers and the work you did is amazing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now when y'all know, when y'all see people's landscape photos, that's not what it looked like.
That's the transformation. Yeah, I'd never
Yeah.
seen it behind the scenes.
When you're out in the field, you're just collecting data. You're not taking pictures.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's basically what I'm doing, with the focus stacking and the, and bracketing.
Tell me this for a film photographer guy. It's large format 8x10 camera.
Even in the darkroom, you're doing stuff. You're dodging and burning.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
There is no authentic photo. That's
No,
all
no, no.
BS.
That is true
No.
because every photograph is the first impression what you saw the image, and then that is living inside yourself. And then when you recreate the image as a paper image, in that case, those impressions and notes, field notes, which I do every picture, a lot of feelings, and then impressions in the image.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy if someone will be able to see that on the wall.
That Pano
Yeah.
file's 4 gig.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
I did that where this photo is. I did a 24 image pano vertical,
Mhm.
like a 4x6 grid.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was it was very big, like 8, I think it was like 4 or 8 gigs by the time it was done. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
So anybody that wants to learn Photoshop,
There you go. Hey,
Um,
I hope you'll print up one at least for the library show. And all of you here tonight, I hope that you will enter up to 4 images for the Pflugerville Library Show that we're planning. I've already gotten Laszlo and Alexa's commitment and pictures. We're going to work to get their pictures up, but we have plenty of room, and we really need to put a nice showing up for the whole club.
Due by when?
The actual hanging, we want you to bring it to the hanging, and I think it's the 23rd, a Friday.
Yeah.
We'll be there from 4 o'clock to maybe 7 at the latest. The library closes at 8, I think. But come early, come and help us. We'll have some refreshments, and we'll talk about the photos. And it takes a while to hang them because we have to do all the hanging ourselves.
And then probably all of the images, the framed images needs the wiring, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you need to on the
So make
back.
sure wired.
Yeah, make sure you have a wire because they have the kind of clips, the kind
Yeah.
of J hooks, and
Same as West Pecan, because we
Yeah.
yes,
copied
right,
it.
same as O. And so, yeah, even if you have maybe they're older pictures and not the most recent, that's okay. And we'll be getting some information out to you. I hope I'll work with Robert to. We just want to. It'd be nice to print up some labels that all look the same. So we'll collect the photo title, and if you'd like to put a price on it, that'd be okay too.
And then we send the 2 files from the image label. Is this okay, or do you need another label? We can do whatever we want.
Just text in the email. You know,
Because I attached the files.
that's fine. I think it'll work.
Okay.
I'll probably copy and paste it into a label.
Okay.
A label
But
program.
if you need something, or if you have a specific template, please send us and we will fill it out.
Sure. Just a reasonably short title, your name, and if you have a price, if you want to put some information about where the picture was taken or f-stop or any of that, that's okay, I think. And a way to contact you. If you're putting a price on it, you probably want to put your email.
Yep.
And the library does have a form. I'll double check. They want to be not liable for any loss or anything damaged. So I think there's a form that we have to sign. Well, we probably would do that on the day of the hanging or be hung.
okay.
Are you gonna put in Mark? Are you gonna exhibit? You got 4? Okay.
But do we have to enter them somewhere, or how's this working?
You know, I don't, we're not really jury showing, and I think there's plenty of room, so
Okay.
we're expecting you to let me know that you're participating and the titles and information that could be made into a label.
And when is this?
It's coming up in a week or so, 2 weeks, September, Friday,
Okay.
the 23rd. Actually, it's another 2 weeks.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I had time to print.
Yeah, print those up.
Yeah.
Or
Then I gotta find a frame or something. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, I responded to the email about the entries, but it came back to me, no response from this site, so.
How do you mean? You addressed it to claban@gmail.com or?
I know, I just clicked on the link. That was in-
I thought I had it. I thought it was web at NPFS. Ed, what's our, I mean, it's web at npfs.club. Is it still working? Ed, you're muted. He's Ed?
Sorry, hit the wrong button. I don't know. Let me check it real quick.
Yeah, I thought that was still our club email address. Maybe not.
It should be.
It used to be Fritz. We're never going to get control back of our Gmail
No, we've got the same problem Josh has. It's all controlled by Amazon and they're not going to release it.
Uh-huh.
Working
Um,
on, yeah.
I-
yeah,
I intend to get in and use the Visual Pursuits email system. I was trying to do that at some point.
Okay, well,
all right,
anyway,
guys.
I got
I gotta
to
run.
Yeah,
Yep.
thanks for the alert. Okay.
Thanks, Steven. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, not a problem.
Steven.
Oh, yeah.
Great job, Stephen. Thank you.
Yes.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Very cool, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Congratulations
you.
on a successful trip.
Thank you very much. We
And not
enjoyed
getting
it.
eaten by bears.
Okay. See you guys on the 23rd. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, gentlemen,
Yeah, thank you.
ladies.
See you later.
See you. Bye-bye.